I say this to, President Trump and his administration, please release all of the names. I'm very shocked, but not surprised to see that top Democrats are listed in those files. Not only did you guys try to hide it from the American people, but you also hid the fact that Jeffrey Epstein was invited to dinners, political dinners. You guys accepted his money. You begged him for money. You begged him for support. And it's a majority of these people that was, entertaining this guy were Democrats.
Jeffrey Epstein can rot in hell. And I'm going to make sure he has no peace while he is there. And Ghislaine Maxwell has no business being at summer camp playing with puppies. Here you have an administration that has a majority and an alleged mandate, and they use that to exact and enact harm on every person who calls this country home. Then you have the privileged and the powerful, the wealthy and the connected, from Ghislaine Maxwell to Jeffrey Epstein, who had all the power and privilege in the world, and they could have used that to steward good. And instead, they used it, some pedophile predator Ponzi scheme. Democrats have been using every lever available to us, calling for congressional hearings, which I have for survivors, to be centered, to be heard on the record as a part of a congressional investigatory process. We, because of that pressure that I initiated, we then had a roundtable, a closed door meeting with survivors. And again, because of the actions of Ranking Member Robert Garcia and Subcommittee Chair Summer Lee, we were able to force a subpoena to the Department of Justice.
Why wasn't there more clamor in the Biden administration to make sure that these files were released?
Well, I can't speak to that. What I will say is Donald Trump ran on this, on the release of the Epstein files.
But Congressman, I just want to jump in there because Jeffrey Epstein died in a jail cell in 2019. Yes, Ghislaine Maxwell, who you referred to, was prosecuted, convicted in 2021. But President Biden was in office, Democrats were in office, and could have pushed for this very argument to make sure that survivors were honored.
Sure.
Have you spoken to Stacey Plaskett after this controversy emerged?
I have not.
Can you confirm if there was a deal last night to sink the resolution against Congressman Plaskett in exchange for not bringing us into resolution?
We've made clear repeatedly we're not going to unilaterally disarm.
So you're saying there was no deal?
I'm saying we will not unilaterally disarm. Not now, not ever.
Mr. Leader, why wouldn't you speak to Stacey Plaskett?
I said I haven't spoken to her since the Central Resolution went down.
No, about this text controversy.
I have not spoken to her since the Central Resolution went down.
Have you talked to her about this text controversy?
She and I have talked, and it's a private conversation that will remain private.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you guys pulling up, man. I got to put y'all on game real quick. Hey, you all got to hear this. So I did something I probably shouldn't have done. I Googled myself. And man, I found entirely too much personal info out there. My address, old jobs, even relatives just sitting online for anyone to grab. And that sent me down a rabbit hole. And I found out there are actual companies called data brokers that sell your info to marketers, scammers, even stalkers. Disgusting, right? And that's exactly why I use today's sponsor, Aura. Legally, data brokers, they need to remove your information if you ask them, but they make it extremely difficult to do so. But Aura does the hard work for you. They automatically scan those shady broker sites and removes your information. But it doesn't stop there. It also gives you identity theft alerts, fraud protection, and a built-in VPN to keep your data safe wherever you browse. So here's the deal. Hit my link down below or go to aura.com/wise for a 14-day free trial. At the very least, check if your personal information is being sold. Privacy is power in this digital age. Don't give yours away. Try Aura free, 2 weeks, see what's out there, and take control. Now let's get back into the video. This so-called Epstein files attack on President Trump is officially blowing up in the Democrats' faces. They thought they were about to drop a political nuke, but instead they detonated it in their own daggone living room. Because the more they push this narrative, the clearer it becomes. Trump wasn't Epstein's guy. They were. And the receipts aren't coming from the conservative media. They're actually coming from straight from the FEC filings, archived emails, and the Democrats on mouth. So let's run it real quick. Epstein's money went to Democrats for 2 decades. That's not speculation. That's federal record. Stacey Plaskett, the Virgin Islands delegate, didn't just take Epstein's connected donations. She was literally and texting him, but during an oversight hearing about Trump, asking for guidance like he was her political handler. And then you got this individual, Michael Wolff, who is a liberal hitman author at this point, and he was swapping messages with Epstein, plotting against the president. You can't make this stuff up. And Hakeem Jeffries, y'all know who I'm talking about, Brooklyn's Barack. Yeah, his circle was courting Epstein-linked donors as well, while he was pretending to be shocked by Epstein's existence. I mean, these people are flat out ridiculous. So while Democrats are accusing Trump, the evidence keeps circling right back to their own doorstep. And that brings us to this interview that we're about to check out. We got to see this interview. Caitlin Collins interviews Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett, in front of Congress, got out there and on purpose misled the American people. But that's who the Democrats are. That's what they do. If they are talking, typically they are lying. Hit that like button, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into this.
Democrat who's been on defense over Jeffrey Epstein is Stacey Plaskett. She represents the Virgin Islands. She was texting with Jeffrey Epstein the day of Michael Cohen's hearing. Her questions pretty closely followed the text messages between the two of them to ask about Rona Graff, Trump's longtime assistant. You were defending her today, or in recent days, yesterday, and you talked about Republicans taking money from a Jeffrey Epstein. Here's what you said.
Who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio.
You mentioned Lee Zeldin there. He's now a cabinet secretary. He responded and said it was actually Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor that doesn't have any relation to the convicted sex trafficker. Unfortunate for that doctor, but that is who donated to a prior campaign of his. Do you want to correct the record on the people that...
Hey, you know she's about to lie. Again, if they're talking, they're lying. She knew what she was doing. She knew exactly what she was doing. But these people, they don't play fair. They play by a different set of rules. And the rule set is say anything, do anything that you have to do to take down President Trump and the administration and ultimately the country. You know she's about to lie.
I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein, just so that people understand when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to spring this on us in real time, I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled. And that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein, unlike Republicans.
This lady's full of sugar, honey, iced tea. She knew exactly what she was doing. She knew she was trying to insinuate that it was the Jeffrey Epstein that everybody knows. Everybody knows this, man. Come on now. She thinks we're stupid. She thinks the American people are stupid. But this lady is full of sugar, honey, iced tea. Full of it.
I at least don't go out and just tell lies. Because it was not the same one, that's fine. But when Lee Zeldin had something to say, all he had to say was it was a different Jeffrey Epstein. He admitted that he did receive donations from a Jeffrey Epstein, so at least I wasn't trying to mislead people. Now, have I dug in to find out who this doctor is? I have not. So I will trust and take what he says is that it wasn't that Jeffrey Epstein, but I was not attempting to mislead anybody. I literally had maybe 20 minutes before I had to do that debate.
Yeah, but
you lie and the truth is not in you. You know good and well she was on purpose misleading the people. That's why she put it out there and said it the way that she said it. Now, I got to give it to her. She said a Jeffrey Epstein. So that was the that word is the word that she is going to use to cover her tracks. But we know what time it is.
But people might see that and say, well, you're trying to make it sound like he took money from
I did not know.
A registered sex offender.
No, but I literally did not know. When you search FEC files, and that's what I had my team to do, I texted them and I said, listen, we're going up. They are saying that she took donations.
Right, but someone might say, well, your team should have done the homework to make sure it wasn't the convicted sex trafficker.
Within 20 minutes, you could not find that out, not from just...
Well, but that also means that if you didn't have the information and you were not 100% spot on, why get up there and say it? You only had 20 minutes. Okay. You didn't have enough time to do the proper research. Why would you get up there and talk like that?
Doing a quick search on FEC. So, number one, I made sure that I was clear that it was a Jeffrey Epstein, but I never said that it was specifically that Jeffrey Epstein because I knew that we would need more time to really dig in.
Well, Stacey Plaskett was texting the Jeffrey Epstein that we're all
Correct.
talking about. You voted against the censure for her to remove her from her committees. You know, we pressed the
Of course she did. Because you know they're all going to coalesce behind each other. Of course she did.
The minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries, on this last night. Maybe you don't think she should be removed from her committees.
Correct.
But why do so many Democrats seem unwilling to say it's inappropriate to be texting with a registered sex offender about what you're going to ask a witness at a congressional hearing?
So I'm not going to necessarily say that that's the case. Now, this is somebody that was a former prosecutor. Now, I haven't sat down and talked about all the specifics of why Stacey was doing what she was doing. I know that when she got up and she spoke, she talked about the fact that this is one of her constituents. At the end of the day, what I know of prosecutors is that they are typically talking to co-defendants. They are typically talking to the people that have the best information. And what you had the former attorney for the president that was sitting there. And honestly, we knew, or she knew, or at least Jeffrey Epstein presented that he was very cozy with the president. He had more information, registered sex offender or not. The bigger question is, why is it that the president was so cozy with a registered sex offender even after he ultimately ended up with some of his convictions? And seemingly, he had absolutely been on the plane with him. We know about the birthday card. The bigger question is, why is the president of the United States not the one that is in the hot seat for his relationship, instead of us saying, oh, you know what, we're going to take her off of her committee because he decided to text her. Stacey didn't initiate that chain. Jeffrey initiated.
She responded and she kept it going. And she was asking for additional information and for him to clarify around people, especially the Rona individual. She was trying to get the last name. Wasn't for sure if it was an individual or if it was an acronym. Let's keep it a buck, man. This is not something that should have happened. And the fact that these people cannot get up there and say that what Delegate or Representative Plaskett did, what she did was wrong. And the fact that these people can't get up here and say she shouldn't have been doing that. It was out of lines. It's unbecoming of a congresswoman. It is unbecoming of an individual who is, what do you call it? Interviewing, you know what I'm saying? Somebody who is testifying in Congress, in front of Congress. The fact that these people can't come out here and say, you know what? She was wrong. She shouldn't have been doing that. That tells you everything that you need to know about these people. They are more about the party than the truth. They're more about saving face than doing right by the American people.
That chain, and she took the information. Just like if somebody texts me.
Yeah, but she was responding and saying, what are you talking about? Quick, I'm up next. And then her questions were about Rona. But do you think that was inappropriate? I mean, would you text with someone who is a registered sex offender about what you should ask?
I honestly know that he had never been convicted of any federal crimes at that time.
But he had been in jail already.
He had been
got
in
a
jail.
plea deal.
And my deal is this. The Republicans are constantly texting with a 34-count convicted felon. So if it's okay for them to text him at any point in time, then I'm not going to say that that's right or wrong.
So bogus. So bogus. This man's the president. This man is the president. And the charges are bogus. And the charges are nowhere near remotely close to what an Epstein was charged with, actually pled to at the time. Like, what are we talking about? All they deny, distract, deflect. That's who they are. Deny, distract, deflect. That's what we're watching this lady do. We're watching her deny it. We're watching her, filibuster the conversation to distract people and then deflect it off of their bad behavior, poor choices, and bad decisions. It's ridiculous, man. It is ridiculous. I can't leave, man.
Especially to the extent that you're talking about kicking someone off their committee. Were they sexting? Was it a matter of her being involved in the pedophilia? No, it was nothing like that. She was trying to understand. Let's say Jeffrey Epstein said, you know what? I have these pictures, these salacious pictures, because I know that the president got down and did these things. Do you think that it would be inappropriate for her to ask about those things if he said he had personal knowledge?
I think the context matters, but obviously it seemed like he was helping her.
Wow, man, the deflection is on 1,000 with these people. And they have no shame. None whatsoever.
But also sex abuse of children. When she said, my team looked into this quickly, when you're going to throw out an accusation that big, which we all know this case is that big, Just own it, say it was a mistake, and move on, because to then try to say, well, they lie and we don't lie, again, it's the distrust in Congress and our politicians.
But the bottom line is, and you've said this before, Sarah, this is not a partisan issue. This is not a
right, but I'm
political
speaking
issue.
purely to don't sling an accusation out on the congressional floor and not dial it back quickly, abruptly say, I got it wrong, and move on, because it isn't political. It's criminal.
Jasmine Crockett is a piece of work. Seriously. This lady literally got out there and defended texting someone who is a registered SA offender. And she's okay with it as long as they're actually helping you. The lady is a clown, and she should be ashamed of herself. And you would think that people, you know what I'm saying, on that side of things will call her out, but they won't. And they're going to go along to get along. And they're going to, continue the foolery. Again, I got to say it again. Deny, distract, deflect. That's who they are. That's what she showcased right there in that interview with Caitlin Collins. I'm glad that Caitlin Collins was pushing back a little bit, but Caitlin Collins did not go as hard, nowhere near as hard as she would if Jasmine Crockett was a Republican. You know it. I know it. I think we all know it. I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. What are your thoughts? Seriously, what are your thoughts on this? Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. Consider joining the ARP family or buy your brother a coffee. That link's in the description box below. Join us Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for ARP in the morning. And as always, keep God first, stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.
Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp.